It started as a joke. If anyone had told me 3 years ago that I'd be sitting across from Mr. Marcus Graham, my high school English teacher, losing a bet that would spiral into something I still can't fully explain, I would have laughed. But here I am. And what happened after that night has been replaying in my mind like a song I can't turn off. I live with my boyfriend, Jack. We've been together for 4 years. Solid, safe, dependable. Jack's the kind of guy who remembers to pack an umbrella, who kisses me on the forehead before heading to work, who folds laundry while humming show tunes. He's sweet. He's real. But lately, he's been predictable. And worse, we've become roommates with matching toothbrushes. The thrill was gone. And I didn't realize how much I missed it until Marcus reappeared in my life. It was a regular Thursday afternoon when I spotted him at the gym. He was spotting some younger guy on the bench press, barking corrections like a drill sergeant. I did a double take. Same sharp jaw, same deep voice that once read Death of a Salesman aloud with such raw power that I felt things I didn't have language for at 17. He spotted me too. His mouth curled into a slow, knowing smile. "Rolex," he said, walking over. "Didn't expect to see you here, looking all grown up." I smirked. "Didn't expect to see you yelling at twinks for bad form." He laughed, low and smooth. "You always had a mouth on you." We caught up over protein shakes in the cafe next door. He'd left teaching a year ago, got into fitness coaching, now owned a private studio downtown. He looked good, confident, the kind of man who knows how to own a room without raising his voice. "You seeing someone?" he asked casually, halfway through his drink. "Yeah," I replied. "Jack. We live together." He nodded but didn't ask for details. "Still competitive as ever?" "Try me." That's how the bet started. Dumb, meaningless, testosterone-fueled. He challenged me to a pool game at a bar he liked. Neutral ground, no pressure. I didn't think much of it. Jack was working late and I needed a break from my routine. The bar was dim, tucked in the corner of a quiet street, the kind of place where time slowed. Marcus was already there, cue stick in hand, drink waiting for me. He greeted me like an old friend, but his eyes held something different, assessing, almost hungry. "Same stakes as always," he said, racking the balls. "We never had stakes. We do now." I raised an eyebrow. "All right. What are they?" "If I win," he said, chalking the tip of his cue slowly, "you owe me one night. No questions, no arguments. Just trust." I laughed. "You serious?" He leaned closer, his voice low and smooth. "Serious enough to beat your ass on this table." "Fine. And if I win?" He shrugged. "You walk away with bragging rights and a bruised ego." We played. It was close. I was good, but he was better. Last ball, perfect shot. Game over. He leaned over the table, smirking like the devil himself. "You lost," he said, barely above a whisper. "Guess I did." I tried to play it cool, brush it off. But I felt it. The tight knot in my stomach, the heat behind my ears, the way his presence was pulling something from me I hadn't felt in a long time. He didn't say much after that. Just clinked his glass against mine and said, "I'll collect tomorrow night. Wear something you don't mind taking off." It wasn't just flirtation. It was a challenge. A door half opened, waiting for me to walk through. I didn't tell Jack about the bet. I told him I had a work dinner. He smiled, kissed my cheek, and went back to watching his show. I stood there for a second, watching him laugh at some stupid joke on the screen, wondering why I suddenly felt like the world I'd built with him was too small, too clean, too certain. Later that night, I lay in bed, scrolling through my texts. One from Marcus sat unread. "Don't be late. I hate waiting." I opened it, then stared at the ceiling. Jack's breathing was slow and even beside me, his arm draped across my chest like it belonged there. And it did. It still did. But there was another part of me that wanted chaos, that missed being wanted, not just loved. I missed the heat, the thrill, the danger of being someone's secret craving. And Marcus, he didn't just see me. He remembered me. He hadn't even touched me yet, but somehow he'd already stripped something bare. I closed my eyes, feeling the burn of anticipation coil tight in my chest. Tomorrow I'd find out what he had in mind. And I already knew, I wasn't going to say no. I told Jack I had a team dinner. He smiled, brushed his fingers across my chest like always, and said, "Don't stay out too late." His eyes were soft, trusting, and I hated myself for how easily I lied. Marcus texted me the address an hour before sunset. A luxury loft on the west side, top floor, no roommate. I parked 2 blocks away, palms sweating. The city was fading into dusk, and everything felt like it was holding its breath. When I knocked, he didn't answer immediately. The door opened slowly, and there he was, Marcus, shirt unbuttoned halfway down, a glass of whiskey in hand. "You're early," he said. "You said not to be late." He smiled without moving. "I like obedience." I stepped inside. The place smelled like cedar and cologne. Leather couch, soft jazz humming from hidden speakers, low lighting. It was a man's space, clean, confident, controlled. Just like him. "You want a drink?" he asked, walking toward the bar. "Sure." He poured me something dark and expensive. I took a sip, the burn tightening my throat. "You look nervous," he said, leaning against the counter. "I'm not." "You're lying." He took a step closer. Not touching me, just hovering, watching, studying the way I stood, the way I swallowed. His gaze was heavy. It didn't ask permission. "Let's not waste time," he said. "You lost a bet. I intend to collect." I laughed too quickly. "You're serious about that?" His face didn't change. Dead serious. I hesitated, unsure whether to laugh again or walk out. But something in his tone, the calm dominance of it, made my body respond before my brain could. "What do you want me to do?" I asked. He smiled, slow and calculated. "Take off your shirt." There was no stutter in his voice. No hesitation. Just a clear command. I stared at him. Then, at my drink. Then I did it. My fingers trembled as I peeled the fabric over my head. The air in the room felt different against bare skin, thicker, sharper. He circled me once, slow and quiet. Like a lion measuring prey. "I used to wonder what you looked like under those school uniforms," he said, voice like a low growl. "Guess I finally get to find out." His hand grazed my back, light like a whisper, and I flinched. "You okay?" he asked. "Yes." "Tell me if you want me to stop." I didn't answer. Because I didn't want him to. He pressed against me from behind, his breath hot against my neck. My heart thundered. He didn't kiss me, not yet. Just touched, tracing my shoulders, my arms, slow and deliberate. He knew what he was doing. He wanted me to feel it all before anything even happened. "You're shaking," he murmured. "I'm not scared." "No," he said. "You're turned on." He finally stepped around to face me, his eyes dark, his mouth inches from mine. "You're not the same kid from my classroom," he whispered. "You've grown into something dangerous." Then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't sweet. It was raw, open-mouthed, claiming. His hands gripped my waist, pulling me into him like he'd been starving. I moaned into it, low, desperate, surprised by how quickly I melted. Every kiss I'd had with Jack suddenly felt soft, predictable. This was something else. Marcus pulled back just enough to look at me. "You want to keep going?" "Yes," I breathed. "Say it louder." "Yes." "Good." He took my hand and led me down a short hallway. The bedroom was dim, sheets undone, mirrors on the closet doors reflecting back every nervous glance I threw myself. "Lose the rest," he said, standing by the bed. I hesitated. Not because I didn't want to, but because I did. Too much. The guilt was starting to surface, creeping behind my ears, curling around my ribs. But still I undressed. When I stood before him, completely bare, he didn't touch me right away. He just looked. "You're beautiful," he said, and the way he said it, honest, firm, made my knees weak. Then he stepped forward, slow and predatory. His mouth returned to mine, and we tumbled onto the bed like we'd been waiting years to collapse into each other. His hands were everywhere, rough and knowing. His voice whispered things into my ear that made my spine arch, commands, praise, dirty encouragement. He spoke like a man who knew exactly how to unravel someone. And I let him. I let him do things I hadn't done in years. Things Jack didn't dare ask for. Things I didn't even know I missed until I felt them again. He didn't rush. He devoured. He controlled. And I loved every second of losing that control. After, we lay side by side in silence, my chest still rising too fast. His fingers traced patterns on my stomach. He didn't say much. Didn't need to. I turned to him, wanting to speak, maybe apologize, maybe justify, maybe lie again. But he cut me off. You don't need to explain, he said. You needed this. And I needed to remind you who the fuck you are. I sat up, dazed. I should go. He nodded once, unbothered. You will. I dressed in silence, every movement echoing. I didn't look back when I opened the door. But his voice followed me into the hallway. Next time, I won't wait for a bet. I didn't answer. I just left. And outside, as the city lights blurred into motion, I realized the worst part wasn't that I had cheated. It was that I wanted to do it again. The shower didn't wash it off. No matter how hot I turned the water or how long I scrubbed my skin, I could still feel Marcus on me. His voice in my ear, his breath against my spine, the weight of his hands pressing me down like gravity itself. Jack was already asleep when I slipped back into our apartment. He'd left a plate of dinner on the counter, covered in foil, a yellow post-it stuck to the top. Hope your meeting went well. I missed you, Jay. The guilt hit hard. I stood there, dripping and hollow, staring at a note written in my boyfriend's perfect handwriting, while every inch of my body still pulsed with someone else's touch. I should have cried. I didn't. Instead, I lay next to him in bed, smelling like Marcus's cologne, no matter how much I tried to hide it. Jack curled into me unconsciously, his body warm and safe against mine. I couldn't sleep. My mind was too loud. Marcus had crossed a line, but so had I. And the worst part? I wasn't even sure I regretted it. The next morning, I expected silence, shame, distance. Instead, Marcus texted me. I want more. That was it. 3 words. No punctuation. But they slammed into my chest like a train. I didn't answer. Not that day. Not the one after. But the silence didn't last long. He showed up at the gym again. Same time, same corner. Like he knew I'd be there. You've been ignoring me, he said, wiping sweat from his brow. I've been busy, I lied. He stepped close, too close for public. I gave you what you needed, he said. Don't pretend you're not still starving. I shoved my towel into my bag, heart racing. It was a mistake. No, he replied. What you're doing right now, that's the mistake. I didn't reply. I left without looking back. That night, I tried to initiate something with Jack. Out of guilt, maybe. Or desperation. I kissed him longer than usual. Touched him like I used to. Tried to create sparks that used to come so easily. He responded. Softly, sweetly. But it wasn't the same. I was chasing fire in a fireplace that hadn't been lit in months. And halfway through, my mind drifted. Marcus's mouth, Marcus's growl, Marcus's control. My body betrayed me. I faked it. Rolled away. Said I was tired. Jack kissed my shoulder. It's okay. You've been working a lot. He didn't know. But I did. I was slipping, fast. And Marcus? He knew it too. His next message came the following evening. Come over. Or I'll come get you. I stared at the screen, stomach tightening. I knew what he meant. Not just physically. Emotionally. He knew I wasn't done with him. And the truth? I didn't want to be. I went. This time there was no pretending. No bet. No games. He opened the door, pulled me in, and kissed me like he owned me. You missed me, he murmured against my lips. I did, I admitted. He didn't bother with pleasantries. He backed me into the wall, stripped me with urgency, and touched me like he'd been counting down the hours. There was no hesitation this time. No guilt in the moment. Only heat, hunger, need. He made me beg. He made me scream. He made me forget who I was supposed to be, and why I ever believed love had to be quiet. When it was over, I collapsed onto his chest, panting. Marcus stroked my hair like I was something fragile, despite what he'd just done to me. You don't get that at home, he whispered. No, I said, breathless. I don't. He shifted, making me look at him. Then why are you still there? I opened my mouth, closed it again. I don't know. That was the most honest thing I'd said in days. We lay there in silence. My fingers traced the line of his chest, memorizing the way he smelled, the way he held me like I was wanted, not out of habit but out of craving. He finally spoke, voice lower now. You think you're the first taken man I've ruined? I pulled away slightly, frowning. I'm not trying to ruin anything, I said. No, he replied. You're trying to save something that's already dead. That hit harder than I expected. I dressed quietly. He didn't stop me this time. He watched. Eyes sharp, mouth unreadable. At the door I paused. This can't keep happening. He walked up behind me, close enough to whisper in my ear. Then stop showing up. I walked out. But the truth was, I didn't want to stop. I just wanted to stop feeling like I was the villain. Jack deserved better. But so did I. And somehow, Marcus made me feel alive in a way that terrified me. Jack knew. He didn't say it outright, not at first. But I felt it in the way he looked at me over dinner, like he was trying to see past my skin and into the parts I'd tried to keep buried. The silence between us was no longer peaceful. It was sharp, brittle, one breath away from breaking. That night, he asked, Are you still happy with me? I froze. Fork halfway to my mouth. The question wasn't random. It was targeted. What kind of question is that? I asked. Jack leaned back in his chair. A serious one. I lied again. Of course I'm happy. He nodded, eyes dropping to his plate. Then why don't you touch me like you used to? Silence. I didn't answer. Because I couldn't. Jack stood slowly. Took his plate to the sink. You're not the only one who feels the distance, Rolex. I just never thought you'd let it swallow us. When he walked into the bedroom and shut the door, I stayed behind, fists clenched under the table, heart cracking like thin ice under boot. It was unraveling. And Marcus? He only pulled harder. His next message was short. Come over. One last time. You owe yourself that. I should have deleted it. Instead, I was at his door within the hour. This time, I didn't hesitate. I stepped inside like it was the only place I could breathe. He didn't even greet me with words. Just took my face in his hands and kissed me like he was starving. I want all of you, he said. Not just the stolen pieces. I kissed him again hard. But inside, something was different. It wasn't just lust anymore. It was longing, confusion, fear. I wasn't just cheating, I was changing. We didn't talk much that night. We didn't need to. Our bodies did the speaking. Rough, frantic, aching for answers neither of us had. And afterward, when we lay tangled in sweat and silence, Marcus whispered, You can't keep living in two worlds. He was right. I left in the middle of the night, heart pounding like I'd just survived a storm. My clothes clung to me like shame. The streetlights blurred behind my windshield as I drove, one hand on the wheel, the other trembling in my lap. Jack was sitting on the couch when I got home. Awake. Waiting. My breath caught. He didn't speak. Just stared. I dropped my keys. Didn't even try to hide. I slept with him, I said, voice barely audible. He didn't flinch. How long? A few weeks. He nodded. Silent. I stepped forward, but he held up a hand. Don't, he said. Don't turn this into something poetic. I swallowed hard. I didn't mean to fall. Stop, he said, eyes hard now. I'm not the one you need to explain it to. I sat down, rubbing my face. I think I've been gone for a while. I just didn't know how far. He leaned back. You know what hurts the most? Not that you cheated, but that you waited for me to notice. Those words hit like a slap. I didn't want to hurt you, I whispered. But you did. Silence filled the room like smoke. Then he asked, Do you love him? I hesitated too long. That's enough, he said. The next few days were quiet. No yelling. No begging. Jack packed some bags and stayed with a friend. We didn't call. We didn't text. And Marcus? I didn't go back. I didn't message him. But I thought about it. Every day. Eventually, he messaged me again. Was I just an escape or something more? I stared at the screen. Then typed. You were the truth I didn't want to face. I didn't hit send. Instead, I stood by the window and watched the sunrise paint the city gold. I was alone now. No Jack. No Marcus. Just me. But for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't felt since I was a teenager in Marcus's class, standing at the edge of a line I wasn't supposed to cross. I felt alive. Infidelity doesn't always look like a mistake. Sometimes it's a mirror. And sometimes it shows you who you really are.